Hello everyone, and today on my channel I'm proud to present a new series I've been working on called What Was Life Like? It's basically, in short, uh, in each episode we'll explore time periods in Earth's history, such as like the Jurassic period or the Cambrian period, and give a little preview of what life and events affecting the life that appeared in such time. I hope you enjoyed this first episode. Um, Please let me know in the comments what you think about this series, and if you have any requests for periods you'd like discussed and presented. In today's first episode, we'll be looking at the Devonian period, which was around 420 million years ago to 358 million years ago. And it was basically when the age of fishes happened and when vertebrates first got onto land. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. This is a world full of mostly ocean. At first, it may not look different from any ocean today, with schools of fish swimming about. But these fish are extraordinary, because most of them don't exist anymore. And on the sea ground, we start to see more alien-like creatures. Most commonly are these little creatures called trilobites. Trilobites have been around on the Earth for at least 200 million years at this point, and will continue to thrive for another 100 million years or so. There are so many different varieties that they are one of the most common creatures. Another creature to see looks strange, but is actually an ancestor of shark called the chlamydius. Relatives of the chlamydius are still around today. And one more common species is this weird drumstick-shaped fish called a Bothropus. They're detrivorous, which mean they eat flesh and dead remains like hagfish today. What makes Bothropus so special is that it is part of a group of fish that none exist today, called placoderms. One of the more strange oddities of the Devonian oceans was this shark-like creature called a Stethocanthus, with an anvil on its head. Only the males had this head feature, so this might have been used for gender differences. But there are larger creatures in the ocean. In the age of fishes, there's always a bigger fish. One that's made the ancestors of Jaws terrified. One of the largest placoderms to exist. This is Dunculostilus, a 25-foot long fish. It's a placoderm like Bothropus, but it is a killing machine. But our story becomes more interesting on land. Let's do some time travel to explain. 420 million years ago, the world was mostly barren, with no life at all. It was a barren landscape hotter than the Sahara. There was no soil or dirt yet, just barren rock, and very little oxygen. But one thing did appear on land. They're called Renalia, the first plants to shoot upward. And they are photosynthetic, meaning they consume sunlight and excrete it as oxygen, along with lichens that exist. These early plants will become the tall forests that we see today. If we zoom ahead 20 million years, we see a complete change in plants. One is called Australoxylon, one of the first plants to have seeds. This gives the barren landscape a little splash of color. If we continue in time, around 380 million years ago, we will see that the first horsetails appeared. These horsetails are huge, almost as tall as a man, and they cover the shorelines, sucking up the air and pumping the atmosphere full of oxygen. It took millions of years for oxygen levels to rise to the current 20% that we see today, and it took a lot of plant evolution. One of the Devonians' crowning achievements were the first forests, mainly filled with a tree called Archaeopteris. Archaeopteris is one of the tallest trees at the time, up to 26 feet or 8 meters high. Even though there are much taller trees today, this was a remarkable feat in the world. With all this new vegetation, ferns appear for the very first time. And ferns will continue to diversify and populate the earth, and become one of the most common plants around, existing today in many forms, from bushes to trees. The descendants of Archaeopteris will become the world's tall forests, from the redwoods to the taiga in Siberia. But where land populates plants, life will follow. Creatures, to be exact. Let's travel a little further in the future to see this. 365 million years ago. Our final destination in the Devonian. The Earth has just recovered from the first Devonian extinction, about 8 million years earlier. It was a massive surge of volcanic activity that wiped out 60% of all life on Earth. The placoderms are virtually non-existent, but some populations recovered. While on land, the trees continued growing, making the first small forests. But it's not just plants conquering the land. In this beautiful landscape, one of the new creatures come. Scorpions. Although they're not as impressive, scorpions in general have been around for at least 50 million years by now. They're small, but they've learned to absorb the air through book lungs. And unlike vertebrates like you and me, insects don't breathe in and out through the lungs. They simply absorb the oxygen into their bodies. Some spiders, like the daddy longlegs, appeared for the first time in the Devonian. These small creatures may not seem significant, but it populates the land for something even greater to come. One of evolution's greatest footnotes in history. When invertebrates populated the land, it attracted predators that used to eat them in the water, called vertebrates, who have a spinal cord just like you and me. We humans are vertebrates, and in a way, we can trace our ancestor back to this. A creature that was once a fish, but it was basically a fish that decided to have legs. It was one of the first amphibians. This is Ichthyostega, one of the pioneers of land life. It was one small step for him, but one giant leap for all vertebrates, becoming one of the first creatures to put the first momentous steps onto dry land. Ichthyostega had one weakness though, like all amphibians. He was hindered by his own skin, which he had to keep moist, which sent him straight back into the water. It is possible Ichthyostega actually spent more time on land in the evening and at nighttime when the temperature was cooler. Ichthyostega had 7 digits on its back feet. It's unknown how much it had on its front digits, but if there's one thing that it will be remembered for, was the basic design for hands and feet, with complex ankles and toes. These Ichthyostega are fighting for territory. Having ankles and digits help them keep their balance on land. And shift the weight of their opponent. This is a complete game changer to all territorial disputes in the animal kingdom. Despite its small size, at only 5 feet long or 1.5 meters in length, this was an evolutionary giant. Everyone will be able to trace their footsteps back to this small amphibian. And those were the main momentous incidents throughout the Devonian period. And in the next episode, we will see the Carboniferous. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you like my videos and would like to see more, please like, share, and subscribe. Have an amazing day.